Whether it's Kevin De Bruyne winning the PFA Player of the Year award or George Honeyman being shortlisted for the League One Player of the Year award, there is a stock answer within the world of football when it comes to individual accolades. It goes something a little bit like this. Sure, it's great to get that kind of recognition, but ultimately it is a team sport and there are 20 to 25 lads in that dressing room who've all played their part in what we've achieved this season. The odd player, most notably Cristiano Ronaldo in recent years, may buck that trend, but by and large, that is the answer that you will get. And unlike so many of football's tedious cliches, that one is actually true. Football is a team sport, in which no man is an island, and no trophy has ever been won solely by an individual. No, not Cruyff in 72, not Matthews in 53, and not even Diego Maradona in 1986. That hasn't stopped us from trying to pick out individuals for recognition though. Just to be clear, when I say that football's awards have become meaningless, it is individual awards that I'm referring to, not team trophies. Clearly, the Champions League or the World Cup are not meaningless. Similarly, awards like the Golden Glove or Golden Boot are not meaningless, they typically tend to do what they say on the tin, recognising the player with the most goals and the goalkeeper with the most clean sheets. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best goalkeeper or the best forward, but nor is it meaningless since it merely recognises exactly what the award claims to recognise. No, in today's video, I'm referring solely to the world of football's many subjective individual honours based upon performance. And I say many because there really are a great many of them now. There is the Ballon d'Or, which was briefly the FIFA Ballon d'Or. There is the FIFA The Best Men's Player Award, which splintered from the FIFA Ballon d'Or and was previously the FIFA World Player of the Year Award. There is the UEFA Men's Player of the Year Award, the Golden Boy Award, and, my personal favourite, the Globe Soccer Best Player of the Year Award. Now, those are just a few of the global, or at least European-wide awards. Of course, there are many other individual accolades in different leagues, countries, and continents. These include the FWA Footballer of the Year Award in England, first awarded in 1948, which I believe is the oldest of its kind, at least as far as I can tell. The Ballon d'Or is the oldest and indeed is still widely recognised as the most prestigious of all the international individual awards though. So we'll start with that one. The first question it is worth asking ourselves is, what does the Ballon d'Or actually attempt to determine? Easy, you might think. The best male footballer over a period of a calendar year. Well, yes and no. The Ballon d'Or was the brainchild of Gabriel Annaud, who also pioneered the creation of France's first nationwide top flight, now known as Ligue 1, and of the European Cup, which we now know as the Champions League. So, a busy guy evidently, and a giant in the history of the European game. Annaud was himself a French international fullback, but he was forced to retire from football, aged only 29, after he was injured in a plane crash. He subsequently went into journalism, first for L'Équipe and then for France Football, who were both owned by the same company. When the Ballon d'Or was first awarded to a 41-year-old Stanley Matthews in 1956, journalists from France Football drafted the awards shortlist, picked out the winner, and awarded the trophy completely independently. This is how the Ballon d'Or initially functioned. But over the years, whilst France Football maintained their administrative powers over the award, the voting process became a little bit more democratic. Even today, France Football still draft the 30-man shortlist on their own, but the winner from those candidates is now voted on by journalists, national team managers, and national team captains from all the way across the globe. Though, crucially, only by one journalist, one captain, and one manager from each nation. Contrary to what you might think, the criteria isn't as simple as who played the best over the last 12 months, even if that is the premise upon which some voters make their decision based upon, and what most observers take the award to mean. Ballon d'Or voting actually has 3 criteria, listed by France Football as follows. Number 1, individual and collective performances, in brackets, winners, during the year. Number 2, player class, in brackets, talent and fair play, end brackets, and number 3, player's career. Each voter then selects their top 5 players, ordered from 1st to 5th, with 1 point awarded for finishing 5th, 2 points for 4th, 3 points for 3rd, 4 points for second, and then 6 points for first. With 3 representatives from 176 different nations, there are 7,920 points up for grabs in total, at least at the last count. Thanks for the history lesson, Alfie, but where are you actually going with this? You could be forgiven for thinking. Well, you see, you might think, sure, the 3-point criteria that you just read out seems a bit odd and rather ambiguous, but at the end of the day, everyone just picks from 1st to 5th who they think were the best players in the world each year. Right? Right? Again, not quite. Let's just take a quick look at the voting records of the 2 most successful players in the history of the Ballon d'Or. As the captains of Portugal and Argentina, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, get to participate in Ballon d'Or voting, the only criteria being that they cannot vote for themselves. The same rule applies to all of the national team captains. During his 9 years of voting, 22 of Lionel Messi's 27 votes have gone to teammates of his at either club or international level. Across Ronaldo's 8 years of voting, 18 of his 24 votes have also gone to either his Real Madrid or Portugal comrades. I think we can all agree that whilst it's pretty reasonable to expect footballers to have a greater appreciation of players that they train and play alongside on a weekly or at least regular basis, there is no way Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo actually think that their teammates are the 3 best players in the world virtually every year. What's more, and perhaps most tellingly of all, Lionel Messi has only ever twice voted for Cristiano Ronaldo. At all. And Ronaldo hasn't once voted for Messi. Is anyone seriously going to suggest that Lionel Messi didn't think Cristiano Ronaldo was among the 3 best players in the world in, say, 2012, 2013 and 2015? Or that Ronaldo, who has repeatedly referred to Messi as the player he has been battling with for supremacy over the last 15 years, and the player who drives him on the most, does anyone really believe that he doesn't think Lionel Messi has been among the top 3 players in the world once over the last decade? Seriously? Now, you may say, well, fine. The 2 greatest players of this generation have voted either tactically or with their hearts rather than with their heads, since this format was introduced. We know how competitive particularly Ronaldo is when it comes to individual awards, but so what? They're just 2 votes among several hundreds. What does it really matter? Except, the point being, they aren't just 2 among hundreds. This is exactly how Ballon d'Or voting works, virtually across the board. I just picked out those 2 as the most high-profile examples. Players, managers, and even journalists vote in cliques, for friends, colleagues, or just with a domestic player bias, often with almost a total disregard for actual performances that year. It's a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest. No, seriously, I'm not joking. Hear me out. People cast votes for a variety of reasons, often based more on whether they like the personal group and the nation they are representing, rather than any discernible musical talent. That is why the likes of Ireland, Sweden, and the Netherlands are such frequent winners. Or take the example of the UK, who were historically quite successful at Eurovision, but didn't receive a single point at Eurovision in 2003, after the announcement that the UK would invade Iraq later that month alongside the United States, a fairly unpopular decision on the continent. The UK has basically done dreadfully ever since the invasion of Iraq, finishing dead last on 4 occasions. I won't go too far down this Eurovision rabbit hole, but hopefully the parallels are easy enough to understand. What's more though, even among those who don't vote solely based upon friendships and politics, and I'm talking about the Ballon d'Or again now, not Eurovision, there are some truly bizarre votes. Let's take 2012 as perhaps the most obvious example, since that was the year in which Lionel Messi scored a record-breaking 91 goals and made 29 assists, giving him a combined total of 120 goal contributions in only 69 games, which is just laughably brilliant. Most reasonable people would say that picking the best player in world football in 2012 then was fairly straightforward. Messi was in a world of his own. So surely everyone recognised that fact when casting their votes for the 2012 Ballon d'Or. Well, I'm afraid not. France captain Hugo Lloris was among a number of voters who didn't even put Messi among their top 3, as it was at the time before the introduction of the 1st to 5th system. Instead, the Tottenham number 1 opted to vote for HITC Sevens in top spot, followed by Radamel Falcao and Didier Drogba. Of course, Drogba played a decisive role in Chelsea's Champions League glory against Bayern Munich in 2012 with an iconic performance in the final. But he also scored 5 goals in 24 Premier League games for Chelsea in the 2011-12 season, and he spent the second half of 2012 playing in China. A legend of the game, no doubt, but even the most ardent of Chelsea fans would admit that Didier Drogba wasn't better than Lionel Messi in 2012. Lloris wasn't alone though. Germany boss Joachim Löw, Portugal captain Bruno Alves, and Spanish duo Iker Casillas and Vicente del Bosque all failed to find room for Lionel Messi among their top threes, during a year in which the Argentine, and I must repeat this, scored 91 goals. That ought to have been sufficient ground for an investigation into crack cocaine abuse within the world of football. But alas, that is just the way Ballon d'Or voting works, or perhaps more accurately, doesn't work. I'm just giving you the examples of big-name players and managers as well. If you venture further afield to some slightly more obscure names, you'll find even more bizarre voting patterns. Just take the former manager of the Pakistan national team, Mohamed Al Shamlan, who, in 2015, put Ian Robin in top spot on his vote card for what was then the FIFA Ballon d'Or, despite the fact that the Dutchman had been injured for the vast majority of 2015 with repeated muscle tears. Or how about Sri Lankan sports journalist Hafiz Meraka of the Daily News newspaper, who in 2019 overlooked the Ballon d'Or frontrunners of Lionel Messi, Virgil van Dijk, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane entirely from his 5 votes in favour of naming Trent Alexander-Arnold as the best player in world football that year. During the same year, Cameroonian journalist Gustav Samnik gave his 5 votes to Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Alisson Becker and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Meanwhile, Bhutanese sports reporter Passan Norbu lent his votes to Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, Alisson Becker and Roberto Firmino, leading some to suggest that maybe it might just have been a slight possibility that both men were Liverpool fans. I could list hundreds of such examples, including Roy Hodgson, who left Messi and Ronaldo out of his top 3 and picked out Javier Mascherano as the best player in the world in 2014, but I won't bore you with that, and hopefully I've already made my point. Now, across the board, the sheer number of votes tends to iron out some of this lunacy, diplomacy and nepotism, resulting in fairly reasonable podiums and winners. But the results are still widely distorted by individual competitions. The Champions League and the major international tournaments have such disproportionate weighting that a player could have a rubbish season but pull out 4 or 5 decent performances in a cup-winning team and finish way ahead of someone who is outstanding week in week out all season but plays for a team that didn't win anything outside of the domestic competitions. Just take 2018. When Luka Modric broke Messi and Ronaldo's duopoly over the Ballon d'Or that had existed since 2008. Now, I adore Luka Modric, and I think he is an absolutely world-class sensation of a footballer. However, had Real Madrid not won the Champions League in 2018, or had Croatia not enjoyed such a fantastic run to the final of the 2018 World Cup, it's possible that he wouldn't even have been nominated for the 2018 Ballon d'Or, let alone have won the award. Modric ended up winning an absolute landslide with 753 points. Meanwhile, Lionel Messi came 5th with 280 points. Messi was sublime in 2018, but despite winning La Liga, Barcelona only reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League that season, and Argentina disappointed at the World Cup finals in Russia. So, he finished 5th. No one who watched football in 2018, and has even a vague understanding of the sport, would suggest that Messi was only the 5th best player on the planet in 2018. But all 4 of the players who finished above him won either the Champions League or the World Cup, which often tends to be what really matters. I also think that Luka Modric won the Ballon d'Or by such a landslide due to something of a Messi-Ronaldo fatigue, whereby people just wanted to see someone different get their hands on the award. But that is an altogether separate issue. This leads us nicely into some of the other individual awards in football, whether it be the FIFA The Best Awards or the UEFA Men's Player of the Year Award. The UEFA Men's Player of the Year Award is very similar to the Ballon d'Or in terms of its format, just with a European slant, with one journalist and national team bosses of each of the UEFA-affiliated nations allowed to vote. Naturally, this leads to the same partisanship that we see in the Ballon d'Or voting process, just with even more of a European slant, and with even more emphasis on the European Championships and the Champions League. So, since its inception in 2010-11, 8 out of the 10 winners of the award have been European, with the only exception being Lionel Messi in both 2011 and 2015. In 9 out of the 10 years that the award has been running, the winner has played for the team that won the Champions League that season. The sole exception, Andres Iniesta, in 2012, won that summer's European Championships. It is pretty clear to see what the award prioritises, and it isn't solely how well players have played, as it is supposed to be. The FIFA The Best Awards split their vote 4 ways, with journalists, national team bosses, and national team captains, just like the Ballon d'Or, but also with fans, each of whom have a 25% say on the outcome of each of their awards. This added fan element, which is open to everyone, adds an extra layer of unpredictability, since hordes of fans can swing awards in certain directions. The 2018 Puskás Award is perhaps the most glaring example of this, when Egypt's famously passionate and engaged online support base clinched the award for Mohamed Salah's goal against Liverpool's Merseyside rivals Everton, despite the fact that the goal in question wasn't even Salah's best that year. It didn't win the Premier League Goal of the Month award that month, let alone the division's goal of the season. So it was quite clearly not the best goal scored in all of world football that year. As dubious as all of these awards may now seem, given everything that I've just said about them, they are all bastions of fairness, democracy, and sensibility in comparison to the downright hilarious farce of an award ceremony that is the Globe Soccer Awards, or the Dubai Doors, as they are sometimes referred to, having been held in Dubai in association with the Dubai Sports Council every year since their inception in 2010. In that first year, 2010, there weren't actually any player awards at the Globe Soccer Awards. It seemed to be more of a ceremony to recognise commercial and administrative work, the money men shall we say, rather than the footballers. There were just 3 awards: the Best Agent of the Year, the Best Director of the Year, and the Special Career Award. The recipients of the 3 awards were Portuguese super agent Jorge Mendes, Atletico Madrid CEO and majority shareholder Ángel Gil Marín, and Adriano Galliani, also known as Silvio Berlusconi's right-hand man, then of AC Milan and now of Serie B outfit Monza. The next year, though, in 2011, the number of awards on offer doubled to 6. Now there was a Player of the Year award, a Club of the Year award, both a Player and a Director's Career Recognition award, and an award for the greatest media attraction in football. Cristiano Ronaldo won both the Player of the Year award and the Greatest Media Attraction in Football awards. Meanwhile, Mendes scooped up the Agent of the Year award yet again. By 2014, the number of awards had doubled yet again, up to 12, and in 2019, there were a whopping 16 trophies handed out at the ceremony, with awards ranging from the Best Arab Club to the Best Partnership of the Year by a sport business. On each occasion, though, there was one constant. Jorge Mendes won the Agent of the Year award. Anyone who has ever seen the Globe Soccer Awards, most likely on social media via Cristiano Ronaldo sharing them with his 500 million followers on social media, may have noticed how well Jorge Mendes and his clients seem to fare in these awards in Dubai. In fact, in the 11 years that the Globe Soccer Awards have now been running, Jorge Mendes has been named as Agent of the Year 10 times, the only exception being a victory for Mino Raiola in 2016 when he brokered Paul Pogba's move to Manchester United. On the player front, Mendes' most famous client Cristiano Ronaldo leads the way with 6 successes, compared to just 1 for his primary Ballon d'Or rival, Lionel Messi. That must have been 2012, I hear you say. Oh no, the winner in 2012 was neither Messi nor Ronaldo. It was actually Radamel Falcao. Lo and behold, another of Jorge Mendes' clients. What's more, certain awards just seem to come and go, only returning during years in which a Jorge Mendes client seems to be a reasonable winner. Take the Best Revelation Award, first awarded in 2014 to Mendes' emerging star James Rodriguez, who had just lit up the 2014 World Cup. And then, well, the award just disappeared. There was no Best Revelation Award at the Globe Soccer Awards in 2015, 2016, 2017, or 2018. But then, in 2019, the award mysteriously resurfaced, this time going to, you guessed it, another Jorge Mendes client, Joao Felix. And then, it disappeared again in 2020. Or how about the Fans Player of the Year Award, which has only been awarded on 3 occasions, firstly in 2013 and 2014, then there was a 4-year break before it returned in 2018. The winner, on all 3 occasions, was Cristiano Ronaldo. It sure seems like one hell of a coincidence. But hey, Cristiano Ronaldo is very good at football, and I'm sure Jorge Mendes is very good at being an agent. So move along now, there's nothing to see here. Well, I suppose just out of idle curiosity, let's check out the criteria and voting process for the Globe Soccer Awards, just for comparison. The criteria. Well, they don't seem to share the criteria. They just say that the awards aim to recognise not just the best players and coaches, but also the people who work behind the scenes and who had not previously been acknowledged. And by that, of course, they mean Jorge Mendes. Oh, come on, Alfie. Don't be so cynical. Right, what about the judges? Who gets to vote? Journalists from across the globe? International captains and managers? Not quite. So 2020 was the first year where the Globe Soccer Awards shared any details regarding the decision-making process when it came to the awards, with a jury, as they called it, slightly menacingly, but I guess that fits the location, of 29 people, ranging from Roma legend Francesco Totti to someone called Mohammed Al-Kamali, who appears to just be a random lawyer from the United Arab Emirates. Still, these so-called jurors, who thankfully didn't decide that anyone should be stoned to death, only actually got to select the nominees. Who got to decide the winners from those nominees appears to be quite opaque. The Globe Soccer Awards official website claims that fans were consulted for the first time in 2020 as well. But how and in what capacity, they do not divulge. Alright, so we don't know what the criteria is or who actually gets to pick the winners, but can we at least establish who runs the organisation? Well, it was founded by Jorge Mendes. Hang on, what was that? Yeah. No, it was founded by Jorge Mendes. The Globe Soccer Awards Agent of the Century, he started it. But if you're thinking that may explain why Jorge Mendes has won so many awards along with, all of his clients, then fear not, because the awards were actually bought by a new company in 2017. That's right, not crying corruption anymore, are you? So, who bought it? Well, I'm not sure why that's important, but since you ask, it was a London-based investment company called Silver International Investments. You might find it interesting to know that Silver International Investments was founded by a man named Ricardo Silva, who is also a business associate of Jorge Mendes'. In fact, Silver International Investments is actually a majority shareholder of Jorge Mendes' talent agency, Gestifute. So, they own most of Jorge Mendes' business. They bought an award ceremony off Jorge Mendes, in which Jorge Mendes has been named Agent of the Year 10 times in 11 years, and Jorge Mendes' clients win almost every other award. I mean, quite frankly, the whole thing is pretty hilarious, and you have to admire the sheer brass neck of the man. It would be like me creating a YouTube award ceremony and naming myself as the best YouTuber of the year every year before selling the ceremony to my boss whilst still winning the award every year. Meanwhile, Michael and James at HITC Sport get to share the best YouTuber that is an HITC Sevens award every other year. To be honest, if I was Cristiano Ronaldo, I would be a bit embarrassed. He is a genuine all-time great within the sport of football. He has won the actual Ballon d'Or 5 times. It's not like this is Nicholas Bentner setting up a stupid ceremony in his own house so that he can finally win something. This is Cristiano sodding Ronaldo. degrading and humiliating himself to collect some corrupt, pointless award that no one cares about for the sake of some grubby Emirati cash. You earn, literally, £1 million a week, mate. You don't have to debase yourself in Dubai for a few extra quid. I would laugh this whole thing off, and it is quite funny, if it didn't tell you quite so much about the seediness of football and the rank falseness and corruption that runs right through the heart of the sport. This is an awards ceremony, so clearly rigged and corrupt to anyone who does even a modicum of research, that is still attended by Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, an organisation that is supposed to be governing the most popular sport on the planet. The Globe Soccer Awards take place at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building in the world. The ceremony is presented by TikTok. Apparently it is powered by Audi, whatever that means. And here's me thinking that it's powered by Emirati cash. Turns out it's actually powered by the 1-litre 3-cylinder petrol engine from an Audi A3. It is a huge glitzy ceremony where the actual faces of Jorge Mendes and Cristiano Ronaldo light up the entire Burj Khalifa. Other sponsors include the likes of Lavazza, Armani, and Sea Palace Resorts in Dubai, just in case you needed some extra companies to boycott. Perhaps my favourite thing about the Globe Soccer Awards, aside from the sheer audacity of it, is the quote from Lionel Messi on the website's homepage, which reads like a quote from a hostage with a revolver pressed against their forehead and Jorge Mendes shouting, "Say that you're happy to be in Dubai and proud to have won a token award, otherwise I promise I'll fire this thing and the rest of your family will be next." On that note, I think I'm done. This video is one I've wanted to make for a while. It took me ages to make when I finally did it, and I suspect not that many people will watch it. A bit like the Globe Soccer Awards, I suppose. I wanted to do a half-decent job of it though, since I think it's a worthy subject that hasn't been very well covered in much of the press. So yeah, individual awards in football are basically all stupid, but none come remotely close to the stupidity and flagrant disregard for decency that is the Globe Soccer Awards. I shall end with my own awards ceremony, the Globe YouTube Awards. I have consulted a jury regarding the nominees who wish to remain anonymous. You don't need to know who made the final decision or how. I promise you, that's not important. The award for the best YouTube channel goes to, drumroll please, HITC Sevens. The best finance channel goes to The Reluctant Investor. Best YouTuber of the century goes to a certain Alfie Potts-Harmer. The best boss goes to, well, my boss, Vic. The award for the most egotistical, shameless maniacs who would sell their souls for 50 quid is a tie this year between Jorge Mendes and Cristiano Ronaldo. And finally, the award for the only awards ceremony that is more pointless than this one goes to the Globe Soccer Awards. Congratulations, Mr. Mendes. Another one to add to the collection. Thank you all as ever for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed this ceremony as well. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for HITC Sevens. You could also find me on Twitter or Instagram via the username @HITC Sevens for more content from the man who is now officially the greatest YouTuber in the world, as chosen by the Globe YouTube Awards.